This is Valley News Live at 4.
We begin this afternoon with breaking news. A Sargent County man is behind bars after police say he fired a gun at a man in his car last night, nearly killing him. It happened just west of Gwinner. The victim says 62-year-old Gerald Dill told him he had something for him, then shot out the back window of the car, just barely missing the victim's head. Dill was arrested outside of the bar he owns and charged with attempted murder and reckless endangerment. A Minnesota man has pled guilty to setting a Detroit Lakes RV business on fire last winter. 42-year-old Daniel Kaufman is charged with second-degree arson and theft in connection to the incident. Firefighters responded to Wald's RV sales on Highway 10 on December 29th. They found the building completely consumed by fire, with flames shooting up to 12 feet in the air. Investigators say Kaufman's phone was pinged in the area of the arson and his truck was spotted there. They also say Kaufman stole a fish house and was attempting to sell it online. They seized his phone and found several incriminating searches, including arson reporting hotline and how to make a fake car title. Now here's Hutch with a first look at your forecast. Hutch?
Thanks, Stacy, and hello, everyone. Another summer-like day across the valley. A few fair weather cumulus clouds out there, but all in all, things are delightful and warmer as promised. And yesterday, a lot of mid-80s, including in the FM area. We're a little bit warmer than that, 87, 86 Wadena. It's 90 up in Hallock, and the sizzle's on in Bismarck right now at 92 degrees. Hit and miss thunder showers moving north to southeast right now through Beltrami County. Nothing too heavy there, just hit and miss. And as promised, that chance will stay in our easternmost counties. Hot, just not as hot in central portions of the state of Washington tonight. 100+ degrees there. For us, we'll stay in the mid-80s as we go through the evening. Crystal clear skies, light winds, and all in all, very summer-like night as we head through our hump day. Grand Forks, much the same. Temperatures a little warmer there, however. I'll have hour-by-hour details on the heat wave here as we will continue to build up on these temperatures. And we'll look at that holiday weekend forecast, Stacy, here in just a couple of moments.
Have narrowly avoided a government shutdown. Both chambers have approved some police accountability measures as part of a broader public safety budget bill, but it falls short of what some DFL lawmakers were hoping for. They praised some parts of that bill, like the ones that regulate no-knock warrants and allow sign and release warrants for certain low-level offenses. Republican priorities that made it into the bill include tougher penalties for assault against police officers and making it a misdemeanor to publish an officer's home address online. That bill is headed to Governor Walz's desk for his signature. Education and tax bills still need passage before the midnight deadline. Nearly 16 months after declaring a peacetime emergency, Governor Tim Walz announced plans to end his emergency powers by August 1st. For months, the GOP has been trying to limit his emergency authority, but the governor says it takes time to move 500 state employees back to their traditional roles after they were reassigned for a pandemic response. Dean Brashani says as he enters his 12th year of president of NDSU, he'll support the search for the next leader of the institution. Yesterday, Brashani accepted an offer from the Board of Higher Education to stay on for the next 18 months, after which he will return to teaching at NDSU on a full-time basis. A scary situation for a family in North Fargo this morning after their truck suddenly caught fire. The driver was getting ready to take his child to daycare when he noticed something wasn't right. The fire melted the interior, totaling it. Thankfully, no one was inside when the truck erupted into flames. Fire officials say it was likely caused by a mechanical issue. Authorities in Benson County are warning parents to be extra careful when taking kids to the playground after multiple light bulbs were found smashed. The Sheriff's Department posted on Facebook saying they found broken light bulbs on the playground of the Leeds Public School. The glass shards were found in the mulch and on the bottom of the slide, posing serious safety risks. If you have any information about the vandalism, call the Benson County Sheriff's Office, 701-473-5357. It's day 7 of the search and rescue operation at the site of the deadly condo collapse in Surfside, Florida. Another 4 bodies were recovered last night, bringing the death toll to 16. At least 147 people are still missing. The operation is already logistically complicated, but rescuers fear severe weather in the coming days will make things even worse. The search is taking its toll on emergency crews, both physically and mentally.
You know, yesterday I'm sitting there, I'm hanging out with the guys, and their feet are covered in blisters, their hands are covered in cuts, they're blowing through gloves, they're blowing through boots. You know, we're replenishing just as quick as we had a boot dealer on site taken measurements to give them brand new boots because the conditions they're working under are not like any hurricane they've ever been in.
President Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden will travel to Surfside tomorrow to meet with families and first responders. Today, President Biden is hosting the governors of western states to discuss the dangers of wildfires and what his administration plans to do about them. Skylar Henry has details from the White House.
Firefighters worked through the night, struggling to contain the lava fire on Mount Shasta in California. It exploded to more than 13,000 acres Tuesday, forcing evacuations. So far, wildfires have already burned more than 1.4 million acres this year, and the season is just getting started.
The threat of western wildfires this year is as severe as it's ever been.
President Biden was joined virtually by governors of western states during a cabinet meeting Wednesday to discuss the dangers wildfires pose this year. The president wants to be able to surge firefighting capacity, starting with a $2 raise for federal firefighters so they can earn $15 an hour. He's also extending the seasonal hiring of firefighters and training for federal employees and military personnel to help fight fires.
Music to my ears. We got to pay our firefighters federally more because we don't have enough firefighters, period, full stop.
The Biden administration says climate change is what's driving up record hot temperatures and creating drought conditions, which lead to those wildfires.
We're seeing wildfires of greater intensity that move with more speed, and last well beyond traditional months.
Our states are truly on the front lines when it comes to drought, fires, and our rapidly changing climate.
President Biden is calling on Congress to include money to combat climate change in the upcoming budget bill. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Democrats are trying to use the reconciliation process to pass the budget bill, which would allow them to pass it with a simple majority. No Republican supports the bill because it includes spending for climate change and other Democratic priorities. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office is expected to charge the Trump Organization with tax-related crimes tomorrow. The charges come amid an investigation looking into a variety of financial allegations against former President Donald Trump's company. Last week, Trump attorneys called the impending charges completely outrageous and said they were being pursued because an executive didn't cooperate with investigators. Former Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld passed away today. He was 88 years old. His family posted on social media, "History may remember him for his extraordinary accomplishments over 6 decades of public service. But for those who knew him best and whose lives were forever changed as a result, we will remember his unwavering love for his wife, Joyce, his family and friends, and the integrity he brought to a life dedicated to country." Bill Cosby is once again a free man. Today, Pennsylvania's Supreme Court overturned the comedian's sex assault conviction. The man, who was once known as America's Dad, was the first celebrity tried and convicted in the Me Too era. Elise Preston has the latest from New York.
After a stunning court reversal, Bill Cosby has been released from prison. Pennsylvania's highest court overturned the 83-year-old sexual assault conviction on a technicality.
This decision will be criticized far and wide, even though the lawyers would tell you it is a correct decision. He was not found not guilty. He was not now innocent. The high court took a look without passion, without emotion, and it looked at the facts and it looked at the law.
Cosby was convicted in 2018 of drugging and molesting Temple University employee Andrea Constant at his suburban Philadelphia estate in 2004. But Pennsylvania Supreme Court says Cosby should never have been charged because a former district attorney made a deal with the comedian. In exchange for testimony in a civil case brought by Constant, Cosby would not face criminal charges.
Bill Cosby relied on that promise. He could not take the Fifth Amendment to say that he could incriminate himself because he was never going to be prosecuted.
Cosby was sentenced to 3 to 10 years and vowed to serve his whole sentence rather than admit wrongdoing or remorse. At least 60 other women stepped forward with stories similar to Constant's. 5 testified at Cosby's highly publicized trial. The High Court said allowing that additional testimony tainted the jury, despite a lower court ruling that it was appropriate to show a pattern of abuse.
Bill Cosby will be forever tarnished with the fact that he was found guilty by a jury of 3 counts of sexual assault against Andrea Constant. He does not go back to being America's dad.
So far, prosecutors have not said whether they will appeal. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
Gloria Allred, who represented many of the women in the Cosby case, says today's decision is devastating for the accusers who bravely testified. The holiday weekend is approaching, and with more people hitting the road, the Minnesota State Patrol is seeing an uptick in traffic hazards. Traffic is expected to be highest tomorrow evening and all day Friday. Minnesota State Patrol will have extra troopers on the road to watch for distracted and impaired driving. Holiday travel leads to more traffic, breakdowns, and crashes. And as Sergeant Jesse Graybo explains, it's important to be prepared.
You yourself might be a pretty good driver. We do share the roadways with other people making some of those poor choices, whether it's reckless driving, impaired driving, distracted driving. Of course, make sure you're wearing a seatbelt. A seatbelt is your best defense if you find yourself in a crash.
You can find information on accidents and road conditions by dialing 511 or by visiting 511mn.org. The latest threat to your cybersecurity may be in your own home. We'll explain the growing trend of stalkerware when Valley News Live at 4 continues.
Some sizzling hot temperatures today, some 90s in the Northern Valley and the James River Valley not far from that as the summer-like heat begins to turn it up a notch. I'll have details on that 4th of July outlook and the rest of your work week coming up. Join me. Weather next.